We are joined now by Kansas State offensive lineman Cooper Bebee, and I call you offensive lineman Cooper because you have started at every position except center in your career. Is there snapping in your future? Or do you snap after practice because you're one of those guys that just wants to be ready in case?
Yeah, no, I definitely this spring I've definitely been getting the snaps in, and that's something I'll be working on. You can never not add value to yourself, so if that comes to it, and I need to play center, I'll be ready.
So you are in the Little Apple right now. You are surrounded by many, many hats that you have collected over the years. You don't have to be there right now. You could be in some NFL camp right now, and you've got a bunch of teammates who are now back for their 6th year of eligibility. How did you guys all decide, hey, we're coming back for one more time?
Yeah, so after the season, the O line kind of got together at one of the local spots here in Manhattan, So Long Saloon, and we just kind of sat down and talked, and it was kind of a group thing. We felt like we weren't done with our college careers. We thought there's more out there. So we kind of came together and decided we're gonna have one more shot at this, and we're gonna bring everybody back and see if we can elevate from last year.
Whose idea was it to name it Bring Back the Beef? Because KT Levison, Hayden Gillum, Christian Duffy, these are all multi-year starters who are coming back for their 6th year. You're calling it Bring Back the Beef. That's great branding. I think there's probably an NIL deal in there somewhere. Who came up with that?
I want to say one of our old GAs, Hayden Wall, he kind of redesigns. I think I have it. Hold on.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, if you're watching on the video right now, we've
So I have a hat that he made.
That's beautiful.
Hat he designed from the Kansas Beef logo. And I don't know, it just kind of stuck. We had a lot of interest in that, and people really loved it, so it kind of just stuck. So I'd say he's kind of the designer of that.
The So Long Saloon seems like a weird place to meet when you're not saying so long, like when you're going to say we're back.
Yeah, we were just. There's definitely one of the top places to eat in Aggieville, so it just happened to be where we went.
Were there any Aggieville donuts consumed before or after?
No.
Those things are spectacular.
Absolutely.
That's what. I'm going to give you a chance to brag on your town here, because for those who have not been to the Little Apple, it is one of America's great college towns. Explain to the folks what it's like to be a student in Manhattan, Kansas.
It's a great time. Especially I will say if you're of age, stuff elevates a lot better in this town. But there's just definitely a lot of stuff to do, and going out with friends, meeting new people. Aggieville is definitely the place to be, especially after games.
The first time I went to Manhattan, I stayed at a hotel that was near a coffee shop called Radina's Bakehouse, and they had what was called a butter flight. Basically, they had 4 different kinds of butter, and they just give you a bunch of bread, and you could test all the butters. And I was like, this is my kind of place. So let's talk about this comeback for you, Cooper, because obviously you're coming off a Big 12 title. Very, big season, lots of expectations ahead. Will Howard's back at quarterback. Chris Kleiman has had a chance to really get his guys in now. How excited are you guys for this season?
Oh, we're beyond excited. We kind of talked about after last year. We're trying to do more this year, and like you said, having all of us back, dudes like Will taking over fully as the quarterback. We're super excited. We're trying to be the first team in K-State history to win back-to-back Big 12 championships. That's never been done here, and we got the team to do it. So we're super excited.
How much of all this is the place in history, be it for the team or for yourself? I read something we were talking about, looking on the wall and seeing Jordy Nelson's name and Darren Sproles' name and Colin Klein, your offensive coordinator's name. What would it mean to you to be one of those guys?
Oh, it would mean the world to me. I love Manhattan, Kansas. It'll always be a part of my heart. But I want to cement myself in history. When years down the road, when I bring my kids to games, I want to be able to look up there and be like, hey, look, that's your dad. He did great things here. And yeah, it's just something you'll remember for the rest of your life.
And also, your little brother's a freshman this year.
Yep.
And he's even bigger than you. How's he doing? How's he adjusting to camp? And how were the workouts for him the first time?
It definitely was a slap in the face when he got here, but I mean, it is for most freshmen. But no, he's doing really well. He finally, got to the point where he wasn't struggling through workouts, and now he's excited. We got fall camp coming up, and I don't think they're quite understand what fall camp entails yet, but they'll surely learn here soon.
So let's talk about how you got to K-State, because I thought I was reading about your recruitment, and something your dad said struck me. He said that he was telling you and your high school coaches all along, hey, he's going to play offensive line, even though you were telling college coaches, hey, I want to play D tackle.
Yeah. So, I mean, just, one of the things, when I growing up, I was just like, offense, never gets the love. It's always the defensive players that get all the love. So, going into college, I was like, you know what, I want to play defense. I want to be that guy that gets all the love. Makes the big plays. But when we got to K-State, was me and my dad walking in the locker room, and we went over to my locker and we saw 50 on my nameplate, and I was supposed
to get 98, right?
Yeah. So we kind of looked at each other and goes, oh, it might be a playing offensive line. And then, of course, right after that, I go in, talk to Coach Kleiman and Coach Riley, our offensive line coach. And sure enough, I didn't even last a minute or anything at defensive line. I got moved straight to offense, but, it's worked out pretty well.
I was going to say, because you say, oh, there's no love, but I was on your mom's Twitter feed before this interview, which is, when it comes out of my mouth like that, sounds terrible. I'm sorry. But your mom has pictures of you and her in Barnes and Noble, and there's the Phil Steele college football preview, and you are on the cover, and she made you take pictures with that. I'm looking at that picture, and when people were watching this video, there will be that photo. We will be showing it. So I'm warning you now, but you don't look like you really wanted to take that picture.
Well, it's a funny story. So I was actually down in Frisco for the O-line Masterminds camp, and we were just killing time walking through the mall, and I didn't even realize it at first, but I just saw the college book, and I was like, oh, I'll just go see what they said about K-State. And sure enough, we walked over there, and I'm like, whoa, I'm on the cover of this. So no, it was a pretty cool experience, and my parents were definitely excited for that. So I definitely had to. My mom forced me to take some pictures, and she bought like 8 books, I think.
That's awesome. Well, Phil will appreciate the business. He's the best. So you mentioned that O-line Masterminds camp. That's Duke Manyweather is the coach who runs that. He always brings in the star. Like there's always Lane Johnson or Steve Hutchinson. Some really big time people. What was it like to be around those guys?
It was just a phenomenal experience, just to see, like you said, you got a lot of Hall of Fame guys that come in and kind of give their perspective on different things, and just to see how they approach the game, and what the little stuff they do to make them great. It's just really eye opening. As offensive linemen, you kind of take that knowledge in and kind of add to your game, or add to your routines and different stuff like that, because you're wanting to be in their position one day.
I read that you talked to Steve Hutchinson for 45 minutes about stance, which sounds like the sexiest O-line conversation ever. How did that go?
It was funny because, throughout the whole camp, one of the most important things and they talked about is stance. And you wouldn't think, it's a big deal, but, being able to do everything out of one stance, making it look the same the entire time is really key to be an offensive lineman. You don't want to, tip people off. You're doing certain plays and stuff like that. So it was kind of eye-opening. You like, okay, I get in a stance every play, whatever, no big deal. It's, muscle memory. But, to really hear what they had to say about it was pretty eye-opening.
And those guys have it down to this granular detail, because this is not Like, you know the difference between a light stance and a heavy stance. You're not going to let some D lineman know you're pulling, that sort of thing. But what is it like when an NFL guy, longtime NFL veteran, explains how to not tip the play?
No, it's really interesting just because they have a whole lot of different perspective and like information when it comes to that. It's something like you said, as simple as weight distribution or different stuff like that. Just to see them go into so much detail that you didn't even realize that was there. I'm
Yeah.
honestly, yeah, it's just super eye opening. It was such a great experience.
So, what would your ideal scenario be for this season? Because you guys have put a lot of planning into this, and it feels like, I always feel like when you have this many experienced offensive linemen coming back, it's the easiest building block to a special season. But what would your dream scenario be here?
I'd say win another Big 12 championship and get in the playoff and see if we can win it all would be our dream scenario.
So, as you're doing this, you're also still progressing toward the NFL draft, which you probably would have been drafted pretty high had you left. But now you've got, Pro Football Focus has you as the best interior offensive lineman in the coming out this year. Do you think about that? Are you aware of that? Are you following that? Or is that something you can't worry about?
It's some. I mean, you're definitely aware of it. I mean, you can't get away from it. I get tagged and all sorts of different things, and oh, he's best with one of the best returning, blah blah blah. But it's something you got to put on the back burner. I'm focused on this season, and I'm gonna have a great season, and let the NFL play out after that. But I gotta worry about getting wins and having a good season this year. So you kind of just put it on the back burner.
Do you have a favorite play that you've been tagged in over the last few months by the Draftniks? Because they're always looking like, oh, we found this one from Cooper. This is a gem. Do you have one that you're like, ooh, that's pretty awesome?
Yeah, definitely. It's against Tulane. I was pulling out.
Yeah, I remember.
I knocked down two dudes, which I didn't even realize at the time. Yeah, no, I get tagged in that one. Every other day it seems like. So that'd probably be one of the best ones I get tagged in.
What was that like when y'all were watching it back for the first time and you realized what happened?
I mean, it was pretty cool. I think, it probably didn't help that we lost. So,
Right. Yeah.
it's not something you like really, you don't really look for the good plays, I guess, when you lose. But no, it was pretty cool because I didn't even, nobody really realized it. And, you just, coaches just tip your hat. You're like, wow, that's a phenomenal play. And you don't even realize you did it. But yeah, I mean, it didn't really matter to me. I mean, we were lost, so I was more frustrated about that more than anything.
So you've played both tackle positions and both guard positions in college. Do you prefer guard to tackle?
Yeah, I would rather play guard. I think my body type definitely suits playing inside a lot more. But when I played tackle, they needed somebody to play tackle, and I wanted to play, so I was like, I'll go for it. I'll give it my best shot. But I would definitely say there's more to like at guard for me than there is to tackle.
You sound like, when you say that, it's, I mean, contact. That's what we're talking about, right? Contact against fellow 300+ pounders, because
Yeah.
it's not pass setting against King Felix every day in practice. I'm sure that was an adventure with a first round edge rusher.
Absolutely. I enjoy when dudes don't try to run away from you. At the edge position, they're all about avoiding contacts. But right here in the middle, it's all about contact. That's all you get. And that's it's something I enjoy. I didn't have the longest arms out there at tackle, and dudes were quite a bit faster than I was. So it definitely made stuff hard on me. But I was able to get it done.
All right. Well, and you've also brought back the beef, 4 returning starting offensive linemen at K-State, about 1 million years combined experience. You're the young guy in that group. What's that like?
No, it's funny because, like you said, I've played for so long, and you think I would be the old guy, but to know that there's dudes that are on the O line, is a dude that's married, another dude that's engaged, and I'm the young guy, and it's cool because even though I'm the young guy, I think a lot of them still look to me for advice and different stuff like that. Just to know that the guys kind of rely on me is a good feeling, and it's always a fun dynamic because I always make fun of how old I am, just to know that there's even older people on our team. Like, how's that even possible? But no, it's definitely something you kind of look at and you're like, wow, I'm still the young guy on the O line.
I was reading that when you went to Big 12 Media Days, it was only the second time in your life that you'd worn a suit. Are you prepared? Because you're early 20s now. Are you prepared for the number of weddings you're going to have to go to? Like, you better get used to the suit.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely, I think, more prepared now. But yeah, it's getting close to that age where wedding season's coming for a lot of my friends. So, it'll be interesting. I'm not a huge dress up guy, but you got to do what you got to do. So
Next time we see you in a suit might be draft night.
hey, that's the plan.
Unless you win the Heisman. I want to see you in the tux at the Heisman ceremony. I'm all for an O-lineman winning the Heisman. So and if anybody's going to win it, you, Olu Fashanu from Penn State, who we interviewed last week, and we talked steak with. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we need to start a tradition here on this show. This is a fairly new show. Olu was talking about what his dream steak is. He's a tomahawk, ribeye, medium rare guy. So I'm giving you the whole cow, and you can cook it however you want it. What's the dream?
Oh, I would go ribeye, medium rare for sure.
Beautiful. It's an O-line thing, I think. I know, I have a feeling every O-lineman I talk to will have the same answer, and it does my heart good. Cooper, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
That was awesome.